and welcome to Little Sue. So I'm coming on today with what did I say it was? It was the Country Creations journal page swap, and this is mass make number 2. So the previous video you'll have seen I made the envelopes for everybody to do journals to go inside the journal pages. So this time I decided I wanted to make like a sort of junky notebook type thing, and I'd seen someone make this. Now I can't remember who it was who actually made it, but they used these window envelopes. So I've got mine. They glued down the flap and then they cut it out to give you this. Now I've cut my little slit in it already, and that's for something else, but I'll show you that later on. And what they did is they used book pages, they used music pages, images, napkins, everything. But I decided to do mine a little bit differently. So all of mine are slightly different from each other in certain ways. So this one is going to be mine. So my journal page is shabby chic, blues, pinks and purple colours. So I've gone with this napkin for mine, and I thought this napkin was perfect just to Mod Podge the whole thing on here. Now there's a little space there that I'm wanting to put this tiny little flower in here, and because it goes into this window area you're not going to know that it's not connected. And then what I was thinking is there's a blank space here, maybe Mod Podging a tiny little butterfly just there. Yeah, I think there is about right. So I've got like my PVA glue here, and this is the stuff that I'm using. So this is actually the children's version, and I think I got this out the pound shop, so it is quite watery already. So I felt as if I didn't need to add any water to the PVA glue mix. Because it's a napkin, I'm just going to use this as is. But when I did Colette's, I actually did something different with Colette's. And I'll put the flower on first because I really like this flower and I know where it's going roughly. So with Colette's, I actually had to do a PVA Mod Podge mix. Sorry about that. Just because what Colette wanted on hers. There we go, just like that. So because of what Colette had asked for her journal page to be, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a napkin to actually fit the whole page. So hers was a PVA Mod Podge mix to give it a little bit more strength than just PVA glue, because I think PVA glue is absolutely fine when it's just a napkin you're doing, but if you're putting more than just a napkin on the page, you need something stronger than PVA glue. And I would have used my Anita's tacky glue, but I was using sort of cups and that. But when I show you Colette, she'll sort of understand what I'm trying to say is how I done Colette's. So I think that was round about there. So make sure I get the napkin up the right way. And so I'd seen this on when I was doing all my research for making journal pages, and I was quite excited when I seen someone actually doing this, and I thought this would be perfect to go inside my journal pages. Now, they weren't making them for anything in particular, they were just building up a stash of quite a few of them. And I think they were just going to use them as is and not put them in anything, because they are quite chunky. But I decided not to put too many papers in mine, because mine are going inside a journal. Oh, I missed the mark on that butterfly, which I thought I was going to do anyway. I've put it too low down. But that's fine, it works anyway. So I've got almost everybody's done, apart from Dee Dee's. Now, Dee Dee had asked for travel, and I don't really know how to do travel into this sort of napkin process, basically. So that is basically all I did. Oh, I'll just move you down a wee bit more. So that's basically all I did for the cover of most of them, is I literally just Mod Podged a whole napkin on, and then I've got quite a few of these plastic folders that I just literally peeled it off my mat and stuck them on here and let them dry. So if I just do that. That way. And then, oh, before I go anywhere, I need to take the window part out. And how I did that is, because it's wet from the glue, I literally just used my nail and went around it, getting as close to the edge as I can with my nail, and just taking off that section there. And there's probably an easier way to do it, but I found that this way works for me. It means that I'm not gonna, like some people might decide to cut the window out before sticking the napkin down. That's absolutely fine, but I'm not as precise as that. I wouldn't be able to get the napkin in the right place for starters. Some people might have a little scrapey tool that they can use, which yet again is fine, but I don't have anything like that, so for me just using my nail works. And then all I'm going to do is, with the little edges that are left, is just using the brush and just tucking them back a wee bit. There's a little bit too much there. There we go. basically it. So that's what I did for the first part, and then I'll let this dry. So as you can see, it's a beautiful blue napkin that I've picked for mine. Right, so for the second part of it, so I'm going to use this one, and this is Belinda's, and Belinda asked for Alice in Wonderland, and I had this gorgeous Alice in Wonderland napkin, which I knew was just perfect for on hers. And then what I tried to do is find papers that sort of worked. So this is just plain paper, and I'm going to glue the inside onto here. And as you can see, that blue's coming through with the pink, and that's just going to look really, really nice. And then that's will be the inside of it. And basically all I did was I used PVA glue to go around the whole of it, but not too much this window area, and I used my tacky glue and went round the window area with the tacky glue. But the rest of it I did just use PVA glue, painting the whole wall. Basically all you're doing is just painting it. I did have to write the names in them yet again because I keep forgetting whosies. But some of them are quite obvious, others aren't. So I just need to look at my list to know that this one is beneath Belinda's. When I was putting these together, it took me a while to work out some of them. So literally Tammy's, who had asked for fairy gardens, I have only just worked out how to actually do hers. Couldn't quite work out how I was going to get fairy gardens in a napkin. And I'm still not sure that I've completely understood that either. But it looks really nice. So when I show you Tammy's page, I will show you her envelope journal. Now, the woman who made these did actually use an envelope that she'd received in the mail, so as it was a proper junk journal envelope. But I don't have, I knew I wasn't going to have enough of these, so I just bought a whole load of these envelopes, because I knew I wanted to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get something to put down here before I squeeze this together. So give me a second. So I've got this. And just with my bone folder, I'm just going to go over it very lightly. So I'm not pressing too hard down on the envelope because I know this is wet glue that I've used and I don't want to rip the paper. but I do want to make sure that I'm getting, that the glue is spreading out over it. And what I can do is, if once it's dry there's little edges that haven't got any glue in them, I can just go into the corners with the tacky glue then, and that will be it done. So that is that. That's basically the next part that I did, is once the napkin was dry, I added on, like here, this is actually peeling away already. So just wipe the glue off that, and then I will just leave that to sit and dry now. So I'm going to go and get a wipe and give this a quick wipe before I move on to the next part. Okay, so the next part I did was I picked some papers. So each person has a diary page with their birthday. So it's whatever birthday. So I picked up this diary and this is what I wanted to use it for. Then I've got some lined paper here as well, which will need to be cut down. And I've got some square paper. I'm not sure if that's coming up, but it's blue and pink on tea-dyed squared paper. And this one's blue and pink, but the pink's more faded with some blue ink as well. And the diary page is tea-dyed with quite a lot of blue going through it. So they'll all get cut down to the right size in a minute. So once it was dry, it basically looked like this. So these are the papers to go inside here. So this is the outside, and if I just show you, there's a little tiny little pocket here, and that will be for something specific later on. And all I did is I literally cut around all of these. Now I've managed to lose my scissors, so I won't be doing this stage, but you're basically just following the edge of the envelope and cutting around it. So this is actually someone else's envelope. So that's the next part of it. Then once you've cut your papers down to size, so my papers are all different sizes because I sort of wanted it like that. So my square paper is slightly shorter, but it is longer, so it sticks out over the edge. And the lined paper that I've put in the middle is shorter this way, but it's longer this way, and it actually sticks out the top and bottom of the diary page. So that's the order I decided to go with them, and then I lined them up inside and I sort of forced them down a little bit. I did a lot of wiggling and then bulldog clipped them into place. Got a big Harry Potter book here, and all I did is sort of opened up a Harry Potter book. I've got Angie's prepared for yous. So Angie's was pink butterflies and roses. So I bulldog clipped them to hold the pages firmly in the centre here. And then using my pokey tool, I sort of brought both sides of the book up. I'll just use the pencil case to lean on. And then I used, now I'm not really fussed about getting it exactly in the middle, but I used a ruler to sort of work out roughly where the middle is. So just a rough estimate, and then straight down. And then I went to the 7, oh sorry, so from the middle here, my ruler has a 7 here and then a 7 on the other side. So I've just gone to 7, which I thought was far enough away, and that's roughly here. And then the same on this side, there's a 7 here, so I've just gone in there. And then I've brought it, so that gives me my holes in the middle. It's gone straight through the other side. You can just make them out. You can see that one quite well. And then I've got pink thread, so for each of them, some of them are different colours. So I've got a brown thread for the ones who wanted like vintagey colours, the pink thread for the ones who wanted shabby chic, and I'm going to use this blue thread for mine when it's dry. So I've got my needle and my thread all ready to go. And I went in through the middle, and then it doesn't really matter if you go out the bottom or out the top. So I'll go top first, and then down to the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold, so the thread is on this side of the long thread that goes from top to bottom. So I'm just going to pull both of them this way and then thread the needle back through, because when I was watching quite a few people, they said that if you make sure, so I'm going to pause and zoom you down so that you can get a good look. So from what I've watched, they've all said that if you make sure that this central string that goes from top to bottom, that these parts are on the opposite sides of it, so that when you go to tie it, you're tying the whole thing quite tight. Now one of the persons did suggest putting a tiny dab of glue, which is what I have been doing, into this middle part before you tie the knot, because then the glue gets tied in at the same time and it sort of disappears a wee bit. So just making sure that the string's quite tight, pull it tight, and then just double knot it, or triple knot. I have been triple knotting them, and then that's it. So I'll zoom you back out just now. Okay, so that's that done. I just remove all the bulldog clips, and that is that with a couple of pages inside of it. So this one is Angie's, and Angie is all pinks. And I have a wee pair of scissors. Yes, I do. So I'm just going to use my wee scissors here and just cut off that excess string. And then I'll just set that to the side and let that glue dry in place. Now Angie's got a top pocket here as well. So the ones that I have finished 4 or 5 now, minus a certain part in them. So this is Angie's. I have finished Sarah's. I have done Wendy's and Carolina's. So they were both vintage. Now for Wendy's, I needed to do the Mod Podge and PVA glue technique because hers is sort of, as you can see, it's different. So some of these are paper, some of them are stickers. This one here is actually card. So it is. That one in the middle was card. But it was really, really thick. So I actually took the backing off of it and made it quite thin then. And I've used the brown for Carolina's and Wendy's. Now Carolina's, I did actually have a napkin just like this. So Carolina was vintage fashion, and I thought this napkin was absolutely perfect for her. Wendy was vintage Tim Holtz. So I have used a napkin. So this red stamp and the word postcard here is the napkin. And then I've Mod Podged over the top of it with a second napkin just to make sure that none of this comes off. I wanted to make sure it was secure. With Sarah's was sort of tea and cake theme. And when I seen this napkin, I knew I wanted to use it for Sarah. So this image is actually the upside down part. So Sarah's napkin, this part was one section of it, and then there was another section here. So I've literally fussy cut out parts of the napkin so that I could stick it on here. And that's how Sarah's came out. Angie's, I did near enough the same. So Angie's napkin had 2 of these words, but one of them was upside down. And I basically did the same thing as I cut all the separate parts out just to Mod Podge them all together then. Belinda is Alice, which you've seen. So Alice in Wonderland. Benita and Janet are all about me. So they wanted to know all about the person who's making the journal page. So for theirs, I decided to go with a mixture. So one of my favourite colours is blues and purples, and I absolutely love the peacock colour. I really, really love the peacock colour. So I've got this peacock napkin. I wanted to put in something that represented my home, which is Scotland. So I went with the tartan. And then another one of my favourite animals is the butterfly. So I've sort of Mod Podged them all together to give me 2 of these. Next is Nikki's, is shabby chic, lace and pastel colours. So hers is done in this sort of napkin. So this was like a creamy yellowy coloured napkin, and I fussy cut all 4 of the flowers. Well, technically I just cut it into 4 squares, and then I've altered the way this rose flower goes. So it goes there, up this way, and then comes down this way. And then this one is missing, but as you can see, it would have come down into here basically. So that one was Nikki's. This one is Debbie's, and Debbie was country. And when I seen this napkin, I thought this one was really nice for Debbie's. So it's like the roses again. So it's the same napkin I used on mine, but mine's was blue, whereas Debbie's is coloured with pinks and peaches and a couple of little wild butterflies. Tammy's I have literally just done when it took me a while to actually work out how to do Tammy's. So Tammy's is still drying, but Tammy wanted Fairy Garden, and I wasn't sure how to do Tammy's until I realised that fairies hide in the garden. So what I thought would be a really clever idea is to put the fairy die cuts that I've got down first, and then Mod Podge this floral napkin over the top of it, and it gives it like a hidden fairy type feel. So that's Tammy's. And then you've seen mine, which is actually drying. And the last person who I have done is Colette's, and Colette's is completely finished. So I'm just going to move all these over to the side quickly. So this is Colette's. So Colette's is slightly longer, so I've actually had to put pockets down the bottom just because there was quite a big gap down here when I put the paper on it. That was until I realised that it was wrong. I'd cut the envelopes too long, they needed to be a lot shorter. So as you can see, this is why Colette's needed the Mod Podge and the PVA glue, is because I've literally stuck the book down on here. So these are all quotes from her favourite Harry Potter book, which I have taken out parts of it. I have parts that are inked with the burgundy and gold, and I have added in these pages. So these are the tickets and that for Colette's, and a tag, and I've just inked the back of it. But the main part, the reason why I really like these is because the woman herself made a little tag that fits perfectly in the window, and that's what I loved about these. So Colette's is done, and for Colette's tag I used chapter 1 Ill Post from Colette's favourite book. So I need to make tags for all the others now, which will be my next project. I don't know whether I'll be doing a mass make project for the tags or just actually making them as I'm making the journal pages, which I might do that instead. But that is everybody's almost completely done. So I've just got a few more that I need to put together. So these are mine and everybody else's. So the ones that I've got little clips on them are the ones that I haven't sewn in yet. I wanted to come on and show you what I'd done, and I wanted to really get mine done as well at the same time. So this is mass make number 2, the envelope journal type thing. or notebook, however they want to use it. It's just a mini notebook with a tag that will be matching it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you like what I have made and my process video. Please give this a thumbs up and please leave a comment down below. Like all my other videos, this one won't be going up until I know that everybody has received their journal pages. I still don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully it won't be too long, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now.